Today's house hunting couple are itching to embark on a new phase of their life and make the move to the countryside they've always dreamed of. And at first, there's a repeatedly positive reaction to our houses.
Absolutely stunning.
Stunning again.
Yeah.
This is stunning. Absolutely stunning.
But later, they change their tune and it's time for some straight talking.
I'm afraid it doesn't do it for me, but
Right.
I just don't like the set of it.
Well, today we are in Cheshire, and this astonishing structure is the Anderton boat lift. It was built to allow canal boats using the Trent and Mersey Canal over there to drop some 50 feet below me down to the River Weaver. Now, it was designed by Victorian engineer Edwin Clark. Back in 1875, it cost some £48,000. In today's money, about $4 million. Now, later on in the show, I'll be back here learning more about its history and, importantly, finding out exactly how it works. But in the meantime, here's a little taster of what the rest of this fascinating county has to offer. Located in the northwest of England, Cheshire has a population of just over 1 million. It stretches from its border with Wales in the west to the windswept moors of the Peak District in the east. The county may have a reputation as the playground of the rich and famous, as many high-profile footballers live in the region, but agriculture still plays a central role in the economy. More than 2/3 of the land is farmed today, mainly for dairy. The expansive Cheshire Plain is home to market towns such as Nantwich, which has the largest number of historic buildings in the county outside of Chester. With beautifully preserved villages and towns giving way to undulating countryside, Cheshire provides fertile ground for property shoppers in search of a rural bolt hole. Now, Cheshire is famous for many things, but when it comes to property, it is now perhaps notorious as the home of more than a handful of footballers' wives living in multi-million-pound properties within the county's Golden Triangle, centred around Wilmslow, Knutsford and Alderley Edge. They, of course, have inflated local house prices within the hotspot. The average price of a detached property is currently double the national figure. But there is, of course, some good news. Around the rest of the county as a whole, things are much more sensible. The average price of a detached property elsewhere is currently £268,000, 15 grand below the national average, which means, of course, in simple terms, you don't need to be a millionaire to live here. So let's now meet today's buyers and find out what has attracted them to this glorious county. Neil met Denise as teenagers on a blind date at the school dance in the 1970s.
He's fun-loving, he's adventurous, I think, a good sense of humour.
I'd describe Denise all those, but very organised. She organises my life.
Married now for 40 years, they currently live in Milne Row on the outskirts of Rochdale in Lancashire.
The reason we moved to Milner is we got a job at the Milner Workingmen's Club.
Our first house cost us £700.
Yeah, £700.
Makes me feel ancient, that.
Yeah.
Back-to-back house,
Yeah.
no toilet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they've lived here for as long as they've been married, Neil and Denise have extremely fond memories of where they began their lives together. However, over the decades, the area has increasingly become part of the busy Greater Manchester suburbs.
Years ago, when we first moved here, it was a little village. It was a few estates, but it wasn't a big community as such. And it's just a massive place now.
Former telecoms engineer Neil and marketing consultant Denise bought their current home 6 years ago with the intention that it was to be their last. But since then, they've decided that the house no longer suits their needs.
We bought this off plan. We knew the motorway was there, but I think
it's not until it was built and we moved in, you can hear the motorway all the time.
I think we want peaceful is an important part of living in the country, and the noises of the country, not the noises of the towns. So that's why we want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Mindful that they don't want to be too far from their 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren who live locally, Denise and Neil have decided that rural Cheshire is the right place for them to put down roots for the long term.
We want that nice fresh air, that nice fresh smell of the countryside, you know.
What I quite like about the Cheshire countryside is the countryside just getting up, getting out and walking. I love open spaces.
Neil's been lobbying for this move for the past 3 years, but it's only since buying a caravan that Denise has been fully convinced that a move to the country could be just what she's been looking for.
On the caravan site, you get the friendliness. Everybody helps each other. It's the best thing we've ever invested in.
Now that Denise and Neil have both signed up to a rural move, they're excited that it marks a new chapter in their lives together.
I think we're kind of ready for going back to where we were right at the beginning when it's just the two of you. We've been from childhood to sweethearts.
Is it a case of putting up with each other now?
Yeah, no.
Denise and Neil are looking forward to the open space that the Cheshire countryside can offer them. As long as they're within a quiet, semi-rural location, they're up for settling pretty much anywhere within the county. I'm catching up with them to see just what it is they're after from their new home. Right, guys, well, welcome to Escape to the Country, Denise and Neil, and welcome to Cheshire on a glorious day.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't
Yes.
it?
Now, give us an idea of the kind of key components that this new house has in your own mind, Denise.
I want it to have a lovely big kitchen, preferably with an island in it. We've got a caravan, so I want to... It would be a preference to have a drive, but it's not essential. And maybe detached rather than semi-detached.
OK. Anything from you, Neil, to add to that list?
I think she's filled everything, apart from I'd like a rather large workshop.
OK, now you
escape away from everybody.
So this is you pottering away in your retirement?
Exactly, yeah.
He has a shed, which we call his studio.
Now, in terms of style, do you have any kind of real view on what it should kind of feel and look like?
I tend to go for more modern. Neil tends to go more for... Traditional.
Now, I think congratulations are in order because you've just celebrated your 40th wedding anniversary. How many times have you moved over that 40-year period?
4 times.
4 times we've moved.
Yeah. Yeah,
One, two,
our
three,
very
4.
first house, back in 1970s, was £700.
OK,
Which is
700 quid
unbelievable.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
How much are we going to spend 40 years later?
I know, 300,000 to 400,000.
Well, it
Massive
says 300,000 with a contingency to go to 400,000.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, for the right property.
Now, is all this dependent on you selling your current home? Are you ready to go?
No, we're
No.
ready to go. So we got
need
the
a
money in the
mortgage or
bank
anything,
and we're ready to buy.
Wow.
Yes.
Hot to trot.
Yes.
Hot to trot is the word.
Is it burning a hole, Neil?
Yeah, it always burns a hole in Denise's pocket.
Brilliant. Well, I think we've got some really interesting properties lined up for you this week. Might cost you a bit more than 700 quid, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's how times have changed. Come on, let's have a look and see what we can show you. With a budget of £400,000, our buyers have drawn up a well-thought-through wish list. They're after a 3-bedroom property with both traditional and modern features. Ideally, they'd also like a large kitchen with an island and a shed or studio for Neil to potter about in. We found a selection of handsome properties which embrace the mix of old and new features that Neil and Denise have requested. After each house tour, I'll be asking them to put a price on each one. Our final proposition will be our mystery house, designed to challenge them to think beyond their original brief and open their minds to other surprising possibilities. We're starting our property search in the hamlet of Wetton Hall in the heart of the county. Nearby Tarporley is one of the larger villages of central Cheshire, which flourished during the mid-18th century as a result of its position on the main route between London and Chester. It was used by traders dealing in salt mined in nearby Nantwich. The high street offers a post office, a pub, a butcher's and many independent shops and restaurants. And just 6 miles away, back in Wetton Hall, is our first option. Right, chaps, here we are. Property number 1, set within this newly renovated complex of farm buildings and barns. It's this, tucked away in the corner. You've got 2 floors, which is rather nice.
Very
I
nice.
quite like it, yeah.
Yeah.
I've always quite fancied the idea of a barn conversion. It does look like a big barn conversion in this corner.
Bit of communal living to whet your appetite as
Yes.
far as property number 1 is
I
concerned.
quite
Yes.
like that idea, actually. That's fine. Get to know the neighbours, close knit. Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Shall we go in?
Yes. Let's go.
Renovated 7 years ago, the 5 individual properties set within this complex are thought to date back to 1850. It's a solid start so far, So let's hope the interior also gets a positive reaction. Right. Come on in.
Oh,
Thank you.
What do you think? All done, isn't it?
it is.
Very nice indeed. Done to a very high spec. I don't know what you think.
I like this
Yeah.
the dining room, but it does kind of depend on the kitchen a little bit as
There
well.
we go.
Well,
So,
yeah, the kitchen is through here. It's not
So
the
it'd be
biggest,
interesting to see, yeah.
to be honest, but it does all kind of flow through. Granite tops, all done.
Oh yeah, it's nice. Yeah, again, high spec. But what I like about this is what we want to do is, if we're entertaining, that you can still speak to people while you're in the kitchen, and this therefore works.
Yeah, with it being open plan, it flows.
Yeah, it flows.
Yeah.
Back through the entrance hall lies the living room. There you go.
Oh no, this is cosy.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's
And
a good word, that, cosy.
Yeah, and I like the width of it.
I also like the simplicity of it all.
Yeah.
I like that. That's nice.
It's very uncluttered. You know exactly what you've got to play with.
Yeah. I think this is more Neil than me because of the barn effect, but I do like it feels nice. The flow of it feels really nice.
Well, there is more of a sense of the barn upstairs,
Right.
particularly in the master bedroom. Let's have a look up there.
Okay,
that'd be
fine.
interesting.
Just off the dining hall, there's also a cloakroom. On the first floor, the historic features of the property have been retained throughout the 3 double bedrooms, all of which include exposed beams. There's also a bathroom tiled in neutral tones. And then this is the master.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, this is nice.
This is obviously the biggest of the 3.
This is lovely.
Yeah, I quite like the fact that we've got the modern with this effect, so it fits both of us. And I like the beams.
It's cosy again. I keep bringing that word out, cosy. And it's a warm feeling in it.
Interesting. Well, let's go out to the garden and we'll talk about the price, because I think that's going to be another interesting thing for you to kind of take on board as to how far your budget may or may not go. The outside space is mostly lawn with a Yorkstone sitting area overlooking open fields. It's pretty much a blank canvas for Neil and Denise to make their own. There we are.
Oh, very nice.
Lots of kind of alfresco opportunities here.
Yeah.
Your garden extends really up to this post and rail fence and that gate. That little paddock in there is communal.
Right.
All right. And you access it from over there. That's your garage in the middle of that lot.
Right,
okay.
yes.
Nice double-door garage.
Yeah.
So you could bring it in, your shed, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, studio, come on.
Studio, yes.
It's going to be pucker, isn't it? It's
I'm
not
glad
really-
you said that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you put it like in this corner here, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Tucked away.
Well, let's think about the price then.
Well, I would say 355.
355, yeah, okay. Neil?
Well, I'm going higher because it's a project that's finished. And with that in mind, I'm going to go 375.
If it were 299,950.
That's an eye-opener.
Yeah. I don't think it is going to be 299.
It is.
Is it?
Is
It's
it?
299,950.
Very surprised. Very surprised.
Yeah, so am I.
I think we'd have to look into the definite studio thing as well to make sure that is feasible, because that is important, because I don't want Neil in the house all day.
She's trying to say I'm under her feet.
So go and have a wander around, get the
Yeah.
feel of it, why not? Check it out, explore it, and I will come and find you a little bit later.
Lovely.
thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Below budget at just under £300,000, this generous 3-bedroom barn conversion has been renovated to an excellent standard. Outside, the garden gives way to views of open countryside. Altogether, an impressive package.
The style of these barns, it appeals to me. This is what I've been looking for quite a long time. So yeah, as soon as we approached it, I thought, well, this will do for me.
When I saw the kitchen, initially I thought this isn't the kitchen that I was dreaming about. But because of the openness of the dining room and then into the living room, it actually felt like a nice sized kitchen.
Quite liked outside. I quite like the fact that you wasn't overlooked. You've got all these fields behind you, nicely set out garden, lovely.
For this property, I feel that if I could move it into more of a semi or a detached, it would be a definite contender.
Good. Well, property number 1. Almost on target for you. A little bit wide of the mark for you.
Yeah,
So we need a direct hit, don't we, really?
we do.
Right then, we'll see if we can achieve that with property
number 2.
Okay,
Thank you.
fine.
Cheshire's historic canals stand testament to water being the lifeblood of the county's industrial activity. But as well as providing a transport network, it also fueled the growth of Cheshire's biggest industry. Water-powered textile mills thrived throughout the county, and it was silk mills that really put Cheshire on the map. From the 1800s, Macclesfield was strategically placed on the textile trade route between Manchester and London. Over the next century, it became one of the leading silk-producing centres in Europe, and today its legacy is kept alive through museums and heritage centres. Denise and Neil are keen to know more about the area's history, so we arranged for them to visit Paradise Mill, one of the last remaining silk mills in Cheshire, to meet tour guide Mike Scott.
Welcome to Paradise.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
So, Mike, how old is the mill?
It's approximately 140, 150 years old. The last company to actually use this mill as a working silk mill didn't close until 1981.
Right. So why was silk produced in Macclesfield?
They say that some of that silk came into Macclesfield for the purpose of covering buttons. Silk buttons were a status symbol. The more silk buttons you had, the more wealthy you were. Shall we go and have a look? And have a look at the looms? Come this way.
Silk had to be twisted through the water-powered machines before it could be used to cover buttons. It was this process that formed the beginnings of the silk trade in the UK, with mills in Macclesfield, Congleton, Stockport and Bollington becoming silk powerhouses.
What type of looms are they?
They are jacquard looms, which means they can produce patterns. It was the first programmable machine in the world, whereby you could produce a set of punch cards. The machine will read the holes in those cards and select the warp threads to lift or to stay down.
Right, very interesting. Which was made on one loom?
It is a very slow process, 2 yards a day.
Between 1743 and 1940, over 100 mill sites were built in Macclesfield, and by the 1830s, nearly half of the town's population were working in the textile industry.
Would it be possible to have a demonstration?
Yes, certainly. And perhaps you could have a treadle or two yourself.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Right, come this way. Down,
Yeah.
back, across. Rhythm.
I wonder if Denise will rise to the challenge.
And down. That's it. That's it. From there to there. About that big.
It's got a good ride.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I'm waiting for the shuttle to fly out.
So am I.
I wouldn't like to do that for 8 hours a day.
Silk has always been more desirable than cotton for many reasons. Often it's down to its texture, lustre and draping ability, which made it a luxurious, almost exotic textile. It was also easier to dye into practically any colour.
We're in a little part of the factory now where design was paramount.
So how old, just as a matter of fact, would these samples be?
These would probably be up to the end of the 50s, something like that.
Would they? So why did the factory close then in 81?
Silk was no longer preserve of the very rich, and there was also polyesters and viscose coming in as well, which made the whole thing cheaper. So costs went against them, so they had to go and close. And
shame, really.
It is.
Having stepped back into Cheshire's textile past, it's time for Denise and Neil to reflect on what they've seen so far. Retired childhood sweethearts Denise and Neil have up to £400,000 to spend on making a move from suburban life in Rochdale to the Cheshire countryside. They've been on the same page with the property they've seen so far, but coming up, our mystery house causes conflict.
I'm not with you on that one. I can't see that one.
Right, fine.
I can't see that at all.
And I find out how one impressive Victorian structure revolutionised the way goods were transported on Cheshire's famous waterways. So we're now kind of isolated in our own kind of watery bath.
Yes.
50 feet above the river below us. Well, when we started out with Neil and Denise, they gave us such a broad brief. I thought our task might be somewhat easier, but of course it is throwing up its own challenges. When you are on the hunt, you do need to have some idea of what it is you're looking for. Initially, they weren't that bothered about style or indeed location, but Neil, it seems, does quite like a barn conversion and certainly responds to that cottagey feel. But Denise, on the other hand, well, she is proving to be a much tougher nut to crack. So it's another day, our final day, with plenty more to see, including, of course, our mystery house, which I hope, in its own rather distinctive, crafty way, may provide everything they're looking for. Before the mystery house, we're heading to our penultimate property, which lies in the village of Warmingham. Here, the River Wheelock runs around the outskirts of the centre, which is home to a pub. Nearby is the busy town of Sandbach, where there are frequent food and craft markets held in the attractive cobbled square. There's also a post office and other handy amenities. Our next offering is just a 5-mile drive away in rural seclusion.
Oh, wow.
How about this? Was that a wow?
That was a wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've got the wow factor.
So it should be. This is lovely. Bathed in sunlight.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's definitely got the wow factor.
Well, wait till you get inside, because I'm going to put my head on the block and say, I think this is you all over.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Well, let's see if I'm right. Come on, let's have a look inside.
Okay.
Constructed in 1875 and formerly a dairy, this L-shaped barn was converted 8 years ago into 3 properties. As they'll see, the renovations have been completed sympathetically and to a really high standard. You see?
Yes.
Come here, mate.
Oh, look at this.
What do you think?
Oh, stunning again.
Yeah.
Blown away. It's beautiful.
Nothing to do here at all. And I guess this gives us a natural kind of choice as to where we go first. To the right there is the living room.
Okay.
But to the left is the kitchen. So where are we going to start, Denise?
I think to the left.
I thought
Let's
you'd
do
say
the
that,
kitchen.
yeah. Come and have a look. Good choice, Denise.
Oh,
I thought this is where you want to start.
this is stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Is that not the kitchen you're looking for?
It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
the island in the middle.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely perfect.
The beauty about this kitchen, Jules, is when we're in our kitchen at home, we're under each other's feet. Not here.
No,
Not here.
you can stand there. And I'll stand here. But what I like is actually the extra room for sitting and dining.
It's big, it's spacious.
But it's done to our taste. This is something that I would
You
choose.
found the right one here.
Yeah, the
so far, anyway.
handles,
It's
everything.
beautiful.
It's just lovely.
Even the handles.
Even
no
the-
one's ever said that before.
Yeah.
I love the detail. Good. We're
Yeah.
getting there. We are finding our way, aren't we?
I think you've got there at the moment.
Well, let's nip across the hallway and look at the living room.
Yes.
Okay.
So all good so far, but I wonder if Neil and Denise would have been just as thrilled if they'd taken a right turn at the entrance hall. Time to find out. There you go.
Oh, yes. This is, I'm going to use the word again, Jules, it's stunning. I need to think of some more words that relate to stunning.
Stunning's good. I'd leave it
Yeah.
at stunning.
Again, wouldn't change anything.
So do you want to buy the whole lot with everything in it?
We don't need to look upstairs.
Oh, yes, you do. Believe you me.
okay.
It's well
Yeah.
worth seeing. I'll tell you what's interesting about this one, because it's not massive, let's be honest, but it does feel big enough to give you both your own space.
Oh, of course. Without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah, I've already put Neil down there on the settee there, and I'm there. Managed him in the kitchen.
Just put me near the remote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see what's coming.
Yeah.
Good.
It's beautiful.
It's the bee's knees.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
beautiful.
Well, let's have a look upstairs. It will not let you down, I can
Yeah.
assure you. There are 4 bedrooms in total, 3 generous doubles with one currently laid out as a study, benefiting from a fitted wardrobe, and 1 single used for storage. There's also a family bathroom with a jacuzzi bath. This is your master bedroom.
Oh.
It's-
Absolutely beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah?
Original
yeah.
beams.
Yep, original beams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got the bonus of your shower en suite.
All right.
Oh gosh.
All done
I love the shower. Look at the shower.
Massive walk-in shower.
Walk-in.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely.
High quality.
Told you it wouldn't disappoint you.
It
No,
certainly
definitely
hasn't.
not.
No.
No, I can't find anything.
Can't fault it.
No.
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 You've done your homework today.
Yes.
Phew. But it's not over yet.
No.
Garden.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Come and have a look. Outside, there is a large and immaculate lawn and a flagstone patio. It also has a greenhouse and a shed so Neil and Denise can potter to their heart's content. Plus, it also benefits from a double garage. There we are. That's it. The whole package is now complete.
It is.
Couldn't wish for anything better.
Now, let's think about your studio.
Okay.
Can you see what the neighbours have done?
I can, yeah. That's the type of thing I'd like.
So let's think about the price of this property then, because
Yeah.
I think it appeals to Denise, doesn't it? So, madam, make me an offer.
Yes, well, because I really love it, I'm going to guess at 385, but I think it's more than that, but I want it to be 385.
You want it to be?
I want it to be
okay.
385.
I'm going to go way over budget here and say 425.
425. Well, here's the thing. You're both wrong,
Right.
but in a good way.
Oh.
This is on the market for 389,950. So that should put a smile on your face.
Oh, wait, what, bang.
Good.
Yes.
Well, you've surprised me with that, for
Yeah.
that price. I really thought it was well over budget.
Good. Well, look, I think you should have a better look around upstairs because it really is sumptuous up there.
Yeah.
And I will come and find you a little bit later on.
Lovely, thank you.
Thanks, Jules.
Off you go. Making plans to move in, I think. So still within their maximum budget, this converted dairy with its 4 bedrooms is beautifully presented throughout. The huge kitchen with its island was an obvious hit with Denise, and the studio options open to Neil seem to have made this property a genuine contender.
When we went into the kitchen, I just couldn't see anything wrong with it in any way, shape or form that had my name on it.
The style of the house for me is everything. It's got that rustic farming feel about it. Love it. The sitting room's another one. It was just nice and cosy, the right size, what we're looking for. I could see me and Denise sat in there without a problem.
The downstairs, the size of it, the feel of it, everything was perfect. How I would sum up this particular property is stunning, 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 perfect.
How are we doing then?
Really good, Jules. Really
I
splendid.
think things are hotting up in more ways than one.
They are.
Certainly are. They certainly
Yes.
are. I'm all over flush.
Do you want to see the mystery house?
Let's go for it.
Oh, do I now, Jules? Really?
It might put a sparrow in the works.
I know. That's the fear factor. Yeah.
Come on.
We will. Go.
Come on, tough it
Let's
out.
go for it.
For our final offering, we're heading 20 miles north to Frodsham, where the River Weaver and the Mersey meet. With good access to the coast, Frodsham today is a lively market town. The high street with its 2 pubs and handful of independent stores is interspersed with pretty houses. And just 3 miles outside of the town is our rather imposing mystery house. Well, at last I can reveal our mystery house. What do you reckon?
Pretty large.
Yes. It used to be the Crossley Sanatorium or Crossley Hospital. But what we've got for you isn't an apartment, you'll be pleased to hear.
Good.
Right, let's go for a wander and find your mystery house.
Okay.
Built in the early 1920s, this Grade 2 listed building was initially a hospital for TB patients. Having also spent its former years as a nursing home and a school, it was completely and sympathetically developed 25 years ago. So you get away from the main building out here, and it's like walking through a kind of very quiet, leafy suburb.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Well, that's the mystery house.
But I like the way it's laid out. I like all this architecture on the roof.
I'm not as keen. I'm not keen on the pebble dash, I have to say. And I'm not overly enamoured about living near what was a sanatorium.
There's no more TB. That's all long gone.
I know.
It worked.
Yeah, it did. But I'm keen to look inside.
Good. Right, come on in.
Okay.
Our mystery house is located in a private gated development with a community of its own, which may offer Neil and Denise an alternative to living near a village. Through the entrance hall, our first stop is the dining room. Let's start in here then, guys.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah?
Yes.
Nice dining
size.
room. Yeah, it's a good size, this.
It would make a very nice living room, actually, but you've got one next door.
Well, I think we need to look at the other rooms as well, because to me this could also be the living room.
I'm delighted you are giving it its due. This is all
yes,
good.
yeah.
Let's have a look at the living room. This is lovely.
Okay.
This is a really good family space. There.
All right. This is lovely. But it's contemporary
Nice
as well.
size. It's very contemporary.
It's a lot bigger than I thought. You see, but I would make this maybe dining room.
Well, you could, couldn't you? I mean, you've got a lot of room here.
Yeah.
And it would work quite nicely because with the dining table there, the kitchen is through that door.
Right.
Well, if that was the case, if you wanted, then you could knock through and have a huge lounge.
Look at you with the creative knocking about.
There you go. I thought I'd better put 10 pence in.
Yeah, no, you've done more than that. Let's call it 10 quid. That's very good. Very good. Right, come and have a look at the kitchen. That's through here.
Fine.
Well, Denise does seem to have warmed a little since coming inside, although I suspect a lot will hinge on the all-important kitchen. There you go.
Oh, that's nice.
Very straightforward, very simple, really, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid it doesn't do it for me.
Right.
Because...
It's just a set-out, really.
Yeah.
I just don't like the set-out.
I don't mind the kitchen, actually. I really don't.
That's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
That's because she's seen a wine rack in the corner.
There's kind of almost full.
Yeah.
Okay. But upstairs is also pretty expansive.
Right.
Yeah,
fine,
Let's try the upstairs.
Let's have a look. You've got an extra floor with this one.
Oh.
Back through the entrance hall, we're heading upstairs, where there are 3 bedrooms laid out over 2 levels. On the first floor, there's a large single bedroom with its own modern ensuite shower room, as well as a simple family bathroom. In the eaves, there is a further newly decorated double bedroom. But we're stopping off at the bedroom I've earmarked for them. So this is yours, we think.
The master,
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say is that I would have preferred the bed up there and the wardrobes here, because it feels strange having the bed to the back of the door.
I'm not with you on that one. I can't see that one.
Right, fine.
I can't see that at all.
You've had the problem with the kitchen.
You've got the problem with the
I've got
bedroom.
the problem with this bed.
So long as everybody's got a problem,
Yeah.
that's a problem. Right, come on, let's go out and get some
Okay.
fresh air.
After
Maybe
you
that's
do.
what we need. The garden here is deceptively large, extending through a small area of woodland and backing onto open fields. Now, when we were discussing things in the living room, it was all much bigger than you'd expected.
Yes.
What about the garden?
Yes, bigger.
It is,
Yeah,
isn't it?
It is.
So it is surprising, this one, isn't it?
It is.
It is a surprising one.
Yes. Yeah, and I also actually don't mind the pebble dash on the back of the house. For some reason, it fits with the back.
Got a result there, Jules.
Well, have we though? Have we though? Because there's one more bit to come, which is... Neil, make us an offer on our mystery house.
I thought about it and I put a price on a 360.
Actually, I think I'm going to match him. Yeah, 360.
This is on the market for £385,000.
Right.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I can understand why it's kind of at that price.
Yeah. Good.
But,
Well, that's it. House tours are over.
yeah.
Go and have a wander around. And I will catch up with you a little bit later on.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Off you
Jules.
go. £15,000 under their top budget, our mystery house delivers generously with 3 bedrooms and smart decor throughout. It has a large secluded garden, but will the origins and setting of this private development sit easily with our buyers?
Initially, I wasn't overly keen on the outside, but I like the feel of the house.
The lounge was superb, absolutely superb. Lovely wood fire, nice view into the garden. I quite like that, and the neutral taste as well.
I was pleasantly surprised at the size, and it's contemporary, which I love. But at the end of the day, I think the hospital bit has really put me off.
I didn't like impression of the kitchen at all. It threw me. The very large handles on all the units, and it just threw in my face, and I just didn't like that look at all. All in all, it wasn't the best of them.
Ah, well, you took a bit longer than I thought you might.
Yes.
Is it a grower, I wonder?
Well, pleasantly surprised, to be honest with you. Pleasantly surprised.
You've definitely given us plenty to think about, Jules.
Yeah.
I think we've given you bags to think about.
You have that.
Some very tempting options. Right then, let's go and sit you down somewhere nice and quiet, and you can mull it all over.
Okay.
Come on.
Thank you.
Built in 1875 and designed by Edwin Clark, Cheshire's Anderton boat lift was one of the most ambitious feats of Victorian engineering on Britain's waterways. It was designed to use two enormous tanks of water as counterweights, each weighing over 200 tonnes when full, to lift cargo boats 50 feet between the River Weaver and the Trent and Mersey Canal. This hydraulic method was a far quicker way of transporting goods, avoiding the time-consuming and difficult job of unloading cargo by hand between the two waterways. As a huge fan of the Industrial Revolution, I want to learn more about this architectural icon of our canal network. So I've come to meet Graham Wood from the Canal and River Trust. Wonderful. What a great way to get a glimpse of this fantastic structure. It is remarkable, isn't it?
It is, it's amazing.
But why was it built here?
This is the closest point that the Trent and Mersey Canal comes to the River Weaver, so it was an obvious place to put it. Northwich and surrounding areas were massive salt producers in the day, and Stoke-on-Trent, of course, famous for its pottery. So to get things from one level to the other so that they could move them onto the Manchester Ship Canal and move them all over the country and all over the world, this was the obvious place to do it.
Now, I would love to take a closer look. Is it possible to get on top of it?
Yeah, no problem. We can get right up onto the top deck.
Come on then. Wonderful. The lift remained in service for over 100 years before structural faults were found and it closed in 1983. 20 years later, a 7-year renovation project was undertaken to bring the lift back to life, and today it's used by both commercial and leisure boats alike. Wow. I mean, I got a glimpse of these from down below, but I had no idea just how big these cogs were. How many are there?
There's 72 altogether.
And when do these date from?
These date from 1908 when it became an electronically driven lift. It's because the salt content in the water was corroding the hydraulic mechanism.
So it begins life as a hydraulic lift. It then has its electric phase. Now, during your subsequent renovations, you've decided to take it back to a hydraulic lift. Why?
It's more economic to run it hydraulically, and it returns it back to its original roots.
Well, it's been a real treat to get a sense of it, but any chance of a ride?
No problem at all. If you'd like to go on the boat, we'll go now.
Boats come off the canal and into the aqueduct through a series of gates. The lift works by a counterbalance method, whereby one boat travels up to the canal as the other travels down to the river. So here we are coming actually into the lift itself. Is that the gate?
Yes, that's the gate.
The gate. Incredible.
Once we're in, they'll drop the gates behind us.
Yeah, brilliant. Are we going to see another boat coming up alongside us now?
Yes, there'll be boats coming up alongside us. The lift operates in balance the majority of the day. We can do 32 boats a day.
Now that sounds like somebody's just pulled the plug out.
That's right, that's the last of the water disappearing down the drain.
Between the gate and the
Yes,
aqueduct
yes, between
itself.
the two sets of gates.
So we're now kind of isolated in our own kind of watery bath.
Yes.
50 feet above the river below us.
Yeah.
Today the hydraulic system may be computerised, but the speed at which the lift moves evokes the pace of a bygone era. A gentle 9 feet per minute. So at last, we're dropping.
That's right.
So I say dropping. I mean, thankfully it's very controlled.
Yeah, it's a lovely smooth movement.
I can certainly see how it's got that name, the Cathedral of the Canals. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Do you think Edwin Clark thought of it as the Cathedral of the Canals when he designed it?
Maybe he did. Maybe he had a soft side.
I'd like to think he had a sense of the romantic about him.
Revolutionary in its time.
Yeah. And yet, here we are. It's still working in all of its glory. Well, I am delighted to see this working. I'm delighted that it has survived all of those years, and with any luck, Graham, it should continue well into the future. Now, the conversation that we have to conclude any house tour is always a chat that I look forward to. Now, some weeks it's pretty hard to tell which way it's going to go, but this week, well, I've got no worries. Ready to go. Look at that. Is that for me?
It is.
Fabulous, guys. Thank you very much indeed. Well, it all seems like quite a long time since we started this, doesn't it?
It does.
that.
When you started this process, how optimistic were you about finding a home that would work?
I was more pessimistic than optimistic, but you've turned it around for me.
Denise?
I think because of the brief we gave you, a little bit like Neil, I didn't know whether you'd get the right property for us.
OK, let's cut to the chase. I suspect there is one that's really out in front.
Yes.
Lovely barn conversion.
Yes.
What was it about that property that really sold it to you, Neil?
When we walked round the corner and you showed us the expanse of this barn conversion, it blew me away, and I didn't know what to expect. I was getting excited, thinking, can't wait to get inside here and have a look. Beautiful. You opened that front door and let us in, and I saw this entrance hall. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
That did it for me.
The minute I walked into the kitchen, it had everything, and the island in the middle. It just was everything we'd asked for.
What happens next?
Well, I'd like to look at the amenities, so at the weekend I want to come back and have a good look around the area, and then once we've done that, I think we'll ask for a second viewing.
I think there'll be no stopping her.
Do you need a second viewing?
I don't. It's one of those times where my hand will go in the wallet.
Well, guys, it's been a real treat. I've really enjoyed your company. I've thoroughly enjoyed being back in Cheshire. Well, let us know what happens.
We will.
Here's to you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Jill.
And your new life.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, our work here is pretty much done. The sun is beginning to set over Cheshire's glorious countryside, and the whole landscape is now bathed in this wonderful, rich, warm glow. Our house search is over, but with any luck, Neil and Denise's new life is just about to begin. I'll see you next time. Well, the hot news is Denise and Neil have had a major change of heart. In an enormous U-turn, they've decided to stay put in Rochdale and buy a holiday home in Portugal instead. But they do intend to revisit their country move in a few years' time. If you'd like to escape to the country in England, Scotland, Wales or Northern Ireland and would like our help, then please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.